Well, this demon with a flame horse rode to Millie's one fine day. Threw best couple in the cellar when they dared get in his way. He'd make every boy a dead man and make every girl a simp. He's a swirly-eyed assassin and a big gun-toting imp. A big gun-toting imp.
Well, hot diggity dang! Just when you thought Helluva Boss couldn't draw you in anymore with all these lore reveals, backstory tidbits, compelling characters, and more celebrity guests than Fantasia 2000, they walk up to you and say, hey bro, you ain't seen nothing yet. That was just the appetizer. You're about to have the main course. And that main course is a well-seasoned medium-rare dish of grass-fed beef topped with finely aged dried-up grapes. That's right, people, they're raising the stakes. I used to be funny, I swear! According to Vivzie, as of this episode, we have officially crossed the border into territory that she calls the Big Four. What's so big about it? We don't know for sure yet, but I will say this. If the Harvest Moon Festival is any indication of what we'll be getting soon, then these episodes have the potential to take our favorite satanic series to an entirely new level of quality. And I don't just mean surface level stuff like animation and action, even though those things are phenomenal. I'm talking about everything. Everything. Massively increased tension and drama, possible budding relationships, answers to questions that have been raised and poked at but never properly addressed. And of course, recurring villains that not only come with shadowy motivations, but also have the potential to change the entire infrastructure of this show's society in more ways than one. And the show presents this while also giving us a rootin' tootin' gaber shootin' kick fan grocery the cowboy bootin' ship these two cause they're really cute and hootin' Annie that completely deserves to be called one of the best episodes of the show so far. It's both intense and intensely interesting, with enough intrigue to keep me on the edge of my seat for weeks. But if you want to know the specifics of why, well then, y'all better just pop a squat and take a listen, cause we're about to explore the first of the Big Four and see how the second half could strike a whole new chord. That's nice. Let's check out Helluva Boss Episode 5, The Harvest Moon Festival. YEE-HAW! So the episode starts off with... I'm so sorry, I really should have knocked. Yup, this episode decides to start off with a bang by showing Blitz and Stolis chilling after one of their little sessions. And while the scene is clearly just meant for some plot establishment with a hint of comedy, heck, Blitz literally barfs up a feather right here, it still manages to squeeze in some subtle hints of character as well. I've spoken many times in my videos about Stolis' attraction towards Blitz, saying that one of the possible reasons he finds Blitz so alluring is that Blitz basically treats him like trash. He insults him, dismisses him, and belittles him on the regular. And when you come from a place of power, prestige, and nobility, where everyone treats you with the utmost respect, you rarely ever get something like that. It's something different, something unique, and in Stolis' case, something exciting. And seeing him being happily tied up here pretty much confirms this, and adds yet another layer to the relationship between these two. We're 8 seconds in, and I've already found something worth praising. I may be slightly obsessed.
Let me smash. You want yellow.
So Stolis invites Blitz and company to the Harvest Moon Festival. Not as guards, but as honored guests. The other IMPs agree, we get 2 seconds of Blitz posing like a kitty, and then the true main plot of the episode is revealed. Millie's parents don't approve of Moxxie as her husband because he's not hard and tough enough, leading to Moxxie having to prove himself while competing against another dude who's stronger, cooler, more attractive, and more talented than he could ever hope to be. Yeah, while this plot is as overdone as a burger left on the grill for 9 hours, it doesn't really spoil anything for me because Moxxie's just such a lovable, sympathetic protagonist. From the beginning, he's always been the doormat of IMP. His boss doesn't respect him, his co-workers don't respect him, other demons don't respect him, and if there's a slapstick joke in this show, you better believe that he's gonna be the butt of it. Heck, there's some scenes where it just feels like he's used to being a punching bag. Oh look, I'm being comedically launched into the air yet again. What else is new? And yet, even without much raw strength, he still throws himself into a toughness contest to try and prove his worth to everyone. This thespian twig is willing to climb walls, wrestle demon pigs, and take flying elbows from sharks just to prove how worthwhile he is. And that's determination that I was rooting for the whole way. And by the end, we're shown that even without traditional signifiers of Imp strength, Moxxie is still an extremely capable guy and a huge asset to the IMP business. I mean, he manages to break a chokehold not by pushing back harder, but by knocking over a lamp on a nearby shelf straight onto his attacker's head, using the environment to his advantage and utilizing brains when brawn wasn't an option. And then of course there's the little plan he formulated with Blitz, where he pulls a fast one on old Stryker and even operates a weapon that he's likely never touched, but has no doubt researched extensively. It just goes to show that Moxxie doesn't need to be a traditional imp to be worth a dang. When he's in his element, being resourceful, tactical, and intelligent, he can always be useful in just about any situation, from business to combat. Yeah, put a knife in his hand and he's a squealing wimp, but put a gun in his hand and this man is a professional. Just look at him in this shot. Look at him. Look at my boy.
Professionals have standards.
And that's not even his best moment. At the very end, he finally stands up to Millie's parents for belittling him. And notice that he does it all while wearing his classic suit and bow tie. This shows that he's finally comfortable in his own skin and confident in who he truly is. Who cares if he can't hog wrangle a fat nugget like every other imp? When he does what he's good at, he is a champion, an asset, a master, and one hell of a boss. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, Moxxie is freaking amazing in this story. But does he get to spend some time with his lady love? Absolutely yes. But fair warning, if you're expecting this to be the Moxxie and Millie episode that we were all praying for, don't get your hopes up. In my opinion, this is not a Moxxie and Millie episode. A Moxxie and Millie episode would involve the couple taking center stage for most of the story and having them overcome some obstacles in their relationship while growing as a couple, sprinkled in with adorable moments between the two of them, of course. But instead, this is solely Moxxie's story, just with Millie giving him little comfort and motivation on the sidelines. Am I a little bit disappointed? Kinda. But in the end, I'm glad we got what we got, because shoving in a bunch of romantic moments would kinda take away from Moxxie's character arc here, and we wouldn't want that. And besides, the few moments that we do get are still really sweet. I love that little private talk in the weapons cellar, with Millie using as many motivational swears as possible to build up her hubby's confidence. I'll admit that Moxxie forgetting he had a gun the whole time was kinda dumb. Plus, Stryker trapping them behind a wooden door in a room with tons of wood-cutting tools was also pretty bad on his part, but that's just something for nitpickers like me to complain about, I guess. And even if the gun reveal was a little silly, I really gotta appreciate Moxxie's dedication. He customizes his firearms CSGO style, putting things like blood-stained music notes on them. Do you think he names his guns too? Wonder what he calls that one. The backup singer? The G-sharp? The Lion King? You know, because it's a musical that slaughtered the box office. Just like how you can use a gun to slaughter a bunch of... Yeah, just take me away. I don't even know where I was going with this one. So yeah, would have been nice to see a true Eminem adventure, but hey, there's still plenty of time for an episode like that to come out. I'll get my chance to fanboy about these two for a whole video one day. Just you wait. Now on the flip side, how's our other favorite couple doing? Well, you'll be happy to know that the rest of the Helluva Boss cast ships Stolitz just as much as the fandom does. And that's no exaggeration. Not only does Millie give Stolitz the title of Blitz's boyfriend, but there's even a scene where Blitz has to explain their relationship to Stryker to save face. And even though Blitz tries to convince him that it's strictly for business, Moxxie and Millie can clearly tell that he's full of it. Yeah, transactional. Whatever you say, boss. Trust me, dude, you're not fooling anyone. I know the symptoms of gay panic when I see it. There's clearly something else there besides a one-way ticket to Earth, and you know it. All joking aside though, it's nice to see another hint of Blitz actually returning Stolis' affections. I was already suspicious of his overly aggressive tsundere routine in Lululand, and I had a good feeling that he was repressing some romantic feelings deep down, along with his feelings of loneliness. But now it's not even subtle anymore. We know it, the cast knows it, he's starting to show feelings for old Papa Bird, and there's no hiding it anymore. This episode plants seeds for all kinds of plot developments later on, but this is by far my favorite. I'm not saying that I want them to be a couple right away, because that would be way too fast, but I would like to see them form a solid relationship that goes beyond the superficial. After all these panic spells, maybe Blitz wants to know if there really is more there than just a ticket to Earth. And maybe Stolis, who's only been focusing on his lustful desires, wants to know if there's more than just a nice piece of tail. So they start going out for some non-business activities, like just grabbing lunch or taking a walk and chatting and seeing if there's something worth pursuing. I'm really hoping that the Lust Ring episode is the story that sets this idea into motion, And if you want to know what my hopes are for the Lustring episode, go check out my Season 1 predictions video. It's the only prediction that hasn't happened yet, and honestly, it's the one I want the most. As far as the new characters are concerned, there's not really a whole lot to say. Millie's parents are just the typical rough, tough, and gruff farmhands. You got her dad who could wrestle a cow to the ground, and her mom who could rip off the head and serve it for dinner. You know, basic stuff. Millie's apparently got a ton of siblings, but we only see them occasionally in establishing shots and family photos, so there's nothing worth noting there either. In fact, the only one who gets a speaking role at all is Sally Mae, Millie's transgender sister. She's not exactly a super prominent character, but from what we see of her, she seems pretty cool. She's a snarky smart aleck who's kind of full of herself, plus she's way more efficient at hiding her kills than Millie is, meaning she's literally able to get away with murder. She's got a really cute design with the whole bandana, ponytail, jean shorts thing going on, and the way they show off her trans identity is done with grace, subtlety, and respect. Not only do they have Morgana Ignis, a trans voice actor portraying her, but the design of her horns is a combination of the male imp color scheme and the female imp shape. Wow, that's both subtle and creative. Vivzie's always been a pro at representation in her works, and seeing a trans imp who's well portrayed and entertaining is just the icing on the episode's already scrumptious cake. I don't know if we'll ever see Sally again, but I hope we do. She makes me happy. Am I missing anyone? I don't know. Well, I guess there's Stryker, but... Yeah, I thought so. Alright, settle down, guys. We'll talk about Stryker. Wait, how did you... But there's no seating up there. What? Guys, relax, it's just a character. Whoa, hey, that's completely unnecessary. Put that down. Wait, how'd you get a gun in here? But security, what do I pay you for? Alright, well, my security team gets fired. How about we all get fired up to talk about the undisputed, unmatched, greatest thing about this episode, Stryker. I'll be honest, despite my burning love for this series, I never really cared that much about Helluva Boss's villain roster. Martha was fine and had a really great design, but that's about it. Verosika was fine and had a really great design, but that's about it. The Cherubs were fine and had a really great call-in, but that's about it. But Stryker blows them all out of the water with a Godzilla-sized stick of dynamite. What do I need to say? Just look at this guy. He's the freaking coolest. He's strong enough to strangle demon animals. He rides a flaming horse named Bombproof. He's smooth as butter in social situations. He could kick a girl and kiss her and she'd still want to kiss him. He's voiced by Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus, which I didn't even realize at first. And his design is just all kinds of awesome. That gold fang, that rattlesnake-like tail, those swirly patterns around his eyes. Maybe it's representative of a bullseye because he's such a great shot. Or maybe it's a hypnosis swirl of some kind. Because trust me, he is one amazing manipulator. I mean, there's a scene near the end where he's basically cornered by Blitz at gunpoint, and he just uses his silver tongue to play on Blitz's insecurities and try to push him over to his side. I know that Blitz and Moxxie had a plan all worked out, and you could say Blitz was just faking to be convincing, but from where I'm standing, it really looks like those comments got to him, at least on some level. We already know that Blitz having no love in his life is something that really bothers him, as we've been seeing hints of it since the pilot. And seeing Stryker nipping at those weak points shows that he's just as cunning as he is powerful. And scenes like this are given so much extra oomph thanks to the best animation this series has ever given us. Yes, what you all heard is true, Helluva Boss has never looked better. Look at the crisp smoothness of these action scenes and fight choreography. Look at these fantastic rotating shots done with 3D animation. Look at the lighting, dear God, look at the lighting. Those piercing yellow eyes against a gradually darkening sea of red. Just, I want to order this for dinner and eat it, it looks so good. Sure, it does come at the cost of some scenes looking like they were animated with a flipbook, but hey, that's a budget-saving practice that's been in the industry for years. You save the money for the scenes that matter. Certain anime have done it, and even some Western cartoons like Rise of the TMNT have done it. Note to self, talk about Rise of the TMNT one day. But yeah, while the quality dips are noticeable, I'm fine with a couple choppy chatting scenes if it means we get action like this on the regular. But now that I've covered the basics about Stryker, it's time to dig a little deeper and talk about what we might be seeing in his future, starting with that ending. So spoiler alert, not really, you already saw this episode, Stella's the one who hired Stryker to kill her husband, big shocker there. And yeah, while this particular reveal isn't exactly super surprising, there were some subtle hints that really got my mind thinking. Remember, the devil's in the details when it comes to Vivziepop, and when you look closely, the details seem to show an ulterior motive for Stryker other than just getting his kill. Let me explain. First of all, we know that Stryker is an imp, which are the lowest of low in Hell's established hierarchy. Like, they're even lower than human sinners, which is pretty dang sad. I mean, this is their home turf, their birthplace, and yet some jerk human who got hit by a bus on his way to work has higher standing than they do. Ouch. However, it's been stated many times before that just because you're born into a low social class doesn't mean that you're stuck there forever. Hell's hierarchy is essentially a power scale, where the more raw power you have, the higher you are in society's pecking order. And Hell denizens of all kinds, both human and native, are able to boost their status in society by accumulating dark powers, either through soul dealings, contracts, or even just taking it by force. I mean, there is a whole tier of demons called overlords, which are demons who acquired these kinds of dark powers and overtook a certain quadrant of Hell for themselves. Heck, old Cherry Charleston was just a mere human sinner who became a hell-wide legend seemingly overnight. How do you like that? There are certain things in the hierarchy that never change, like Lucifer and his family will always be top tier no matter how powerful you are, but other than that, any demon could rise the ranks if they have the means to.
Now, let's keep that in mind.
Second of all, we know that Stryker is in possession of holy weapons. Now, holy weapons are kind of a big deal. Straight from the Moxxie's mouth.
And it's inspiring how, for example, the progression of guns utilizing angelic technology has changed the landscape of Hell's combative.
So these things are massive game changers that have completely reshaped the combative landscape of Hell. The question of where they came from isn't even really a question at all because we know where they came from. Every year after the annual Demon Purge, denizens gather up what heavenly weapons they can find and sell them on the black market. And if a spear isn't someone's style, they can also melt down the weapons and infuse the holy metal into other things, like guns and bullets. And while we've never actually seen one of these holy weapons used on a demon on screen, I think it's safe to say that they're an instant game over for pretty much everything in Hell. I mean, if one bullet is all you need to take out a demon royal, which are the highest and most powerful ranked demons in the underworld, then I assume that one bullet is all you need to take out anything else lower than that. This could explain why the combative situation in Hell was so shifted by these things. I mean, imagine taking out infamous powerful overlords and ending entire turf wars with just one shot. I'm sure that any demon would be fighting tooth and nail for that kind of power, leading to more battles to acquire them, and even more robberies so demons could afford them. Heck, in theory, it's even possible to hold the demon lord at holy gunpoint and force him to make a deal with you so you can gain more dark power. So yeah, if you're already the proud owner of one of these things, you immediately have a leg above every other demon alive.
Keep that in mind.
And third of all, look at this scene. Notice anything interesting about it? Well, I mean, aside from the obvious, which is that it looks freaking gorgeous. Like, this might be the best 5 seconds of animation in the whole show so far. And I'm not even kidding.
Oh, baby, spin that gun for me.
But for real, I want you to take a good look at Stryker's revolver for a second. Notice that it has the same color and engravings as the blessing-tipped rifle. If this thing is also a holy weapon, which there's a high likelihood that it is, then this guy managed to get his hands on 2 insanely powerful black market expensive pieces of weaponry whilst being one of the most impoverished species in Hell. And my guess is that he managed to accomplish this thanks to Stella. From the few seconds that we see Stella, it's clear that she wants her husband dead by any means necessary. She doesn't care what he has to do or who he has to go through, she just wants it done. And Stryker, clearly not having the means to kill a royal demon, requests a holy weapon for his job. And Stella, being a high-class wealthy lady, is easily able to afford the black market prices and get him exactly what he needs. Well, maybe not what he needs entirely. Keep in mind, this is the first time in the whole episode that we see this revolver. It never showed up before now. The only holy weapon that we saw was the rifle, which makes sense. It was really the only weapon necessary to do the job because it was just a simple snipe and go. You could say that the revolver was just an emergency sidearm that he never needed to use, but I like to think that it goes a little deeper than that. I mean, imagine yourself as an imp, which many of you already have. You've got massive ambitions to make a name for yourself, crawl out of the bottom of the barrel, slay overlords, gain dark powers, and prove that imps can be a force to be reckoned with. And then this crazy bird lady who's seeing red just drops in your lap. She wants her husband dead by any means necessary, but can't do it herself or she risks ruining what's left of her reputation. So she hires you, an inconspicuous commoner who's good with a gun, to do the job for her. She makes it clear that she doesn't care who you have to go through or how you do it, she just wants it done. And because of this, she's willing to provide you with anything you need for your task. So you do what any demon with this opportunity would do. You milk it for all it's worth. You ask for a bunch of holy weapons, some you need for your job, and some to just stockpile and keep for yourself, unbeknownst to her. I mean, this bird lady is completely fueled by anger at this point, so she has no time or interest to ask you why you need certain things. She just gives you what you want and tells you to get the job done. And by the end, you're packing so much holy heat that you could basically take on most of hell single-handedly if you wanted to. And that's exactly what you do. You hold on to your secret stash until the proper time, and make a plan for your dominance. I mean, no one would expect a lower class imp to have a ton of heavenly firepower under his belt, so no one suspects you at all. And when the time is right, you set your plan into action, slaying overlords and taking dark powers by force, storming the black market and taking even more heavenly weapons, threatening those pompous blue bloods with a holy headshot if they don't give you what you want. Maybe you amass a following of other imps who agree with your ideals and are tired of being the chewed gum of society. Maybe a war starts between the upper class and the lower class, where the lower class actually has an edge thanks to their weaponry. And when the smoke clears, a newly feared overlord emerges in the seedy underworld. Demon Lord Stryker. I don't know, am I crazy? Am I crazy to think this might actually happen? Stryker going from simple hitman to hell-wide threat just by seizing the right opportunities and picking the right battles? Using an anger-blinded women scorned as his ticket to the big time, and then other imps joining him and getting back at the higher-ups for all the dirt-poor treatment they've gotten their whole lives? I know it might seem a little bit extreme on the surface, but our peach-skinned cowboy over here completely strikes me as the kind of cunning, manipulative guy who would do that. Vivzie said that the Big Four was going to give us some intense things, and I think a setup like this would be way more exciting than just some assassin who's after Stolis. It'd make him intimidating and interesting in more ways than one, and could turn him into even more of a boss than he already is. Heck, I want this to happen just because of the name. Demon Lord Stryker. Just listen to how cool that sounds. I don't know, I'm probably dreaming way too big with this stuff, but hey, it's better than not dreaming at all, right? Also, to those who were wondering if Stolis heard Stella talking at the dinner table, I'm gonna say no, he didn't. I mean, he was right there, but it seemed to me like he was too invested in his book and his salad while she was talking. Heck, at the very end, he even looks up and gives this expression as if to say, "I'm sorry, did you say something?" I'm guessing that was supposed to be the joke, like even when she's plotting his murder right in front of him, he still pays her no attention. That's honestly really sad. And we definitely know Octi didn't hear anything. Nah, she just straight up vibing. What you listening to, girl?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't really understand, but I fell down this hill. Now I got glue on my hands, and I got records on my fingers. Records on my fingers. I got records on my fingers, and I just can't stop.
The negatives I have are mostly just minor things. Like I was really hoping that we would have gotten a little bit more Millie development in this episode. I mean, it's her home on her farm with her family, and yet her only major role in the plot was comforting her hubby and giving Stryker a few much-deserved knife stabs. Sure, we got some parental tension with her choice to be a freelancer, and the fact that she couldn't take out Stryker by herself, but other than that, not much. It's such a shame that Millie is as underdeveloped as she is, because what I have seen of her, I love. She's perky, she's fun, she's upbeat, she's supportive, she's insanely adorable. She can slay demonic kaiju fish with a knife and a prayer. She's best girl in my opinion. I just wish we got some plots or even subplots that hinted some interesting depth for her. Maybe one day I'll make a video about potential Millie episode ideas, because my girl deserves her time to shine. Also, maybe I'm alone here, but I am really not a fan of Wacky Wally. I mean, I usually adore the old-timey snake oil salesman type character. They could be a barrel of fun. But Wally in his few appearances just doesn't seem to carry that same charming charisma that these types of characters tend to have. I guess I like his whole Asaya speech pattern, which is reminiscent of Foghorn Leghorn, but other than that, I don't really know why they keep using him. And maybe one day it'll pay off and we'll get to see him organize a giant robot fight or something. A Lila Loopty mech versus a giant Robo-Fizz. That would be awesome. Oh yeah, and Luna's a complete non-entity. Again. I guess Spring Broken is all the Luna growth we're gonna be getting for a while. Still hoping for a Luna Blitz Daddy-Daughter episode. Anytime now. So yeah, what else can I really say? Vivzie clearly wanted to start off the Big Four with a bang, and she gave us a bang so loud it could wake the dead. The drama and tension were as top tier as it gets, the lighting and color are 50 shades of awesome, the animation is as fluid and gorgeous as a rainbow water slide, Moxxie's still a boss, Stolis is still a cutie pie, Blitz is slowly falling for the burb, the audience already fell for Stryker, and while I am still aching for some Millie solo development, seeing her as part of Eminem always calls for massive smiles. So yeah, this is a top tier episode from every angle. But now for the ultimate question. Does it knock Lululand off its throne? No. But it is gonna have to scooch over a little because we now have a tie for my #1 spot. Yeah, I really couldn't decide between these two. I mean, Harvest Moon had better action and better atmosphere, while Lululand had better emotion and better songs. So honestly, either one could be my top pick depending on what mood I'm in at the time. But keep in mind, this list can still change at a moment's notice. For all I know, there might be an episode in the next 3 that completely puts these two to shame. Like, so good they would be B tier in comparison. No matter what happens though, I am more than ready to see what Vivzie and Co have up their sleeves for us. Vivzie's content has been an absolute joy to watch so far. And if the stuff that's coming in the future is half as cool as what I'm predicting, then y'all in the back better saddle up, cause this spindle horse is about to take us for one heck of a ride. Yahoo!